Hi, everyone, and welcome to the latest interview webinar, if you like, for GAIA, the Global Association of Independent AI and CX Consultants. Trying something a little bit different, interviewing a new partner to our membership community, and that's Ian Taylor from Avoira. Ian, welcome onto the group.
Oh, thanks very much for the introduction. It's great to meet you, James. It's great to be part of the group.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and about Avoira before we get started?
Yeah, sure. Thanks very much. So I've worked in the kind of CX community on the supplier side for a number of years. We were supplying contact center solutions up until around 7 years ago. We were primarily just focusing on voice connectivity. And then we moved into a new area at the time, which was AI, voice transcription, and then into analytics. We launched a product in the UK, started small. Third customer was pretty big, which we'll talk about soon. And now we're serving lots of different organizations across the UK, and also using the analytics and insight to help steer some exciting organizations with agentic voice projects as well.
Awesome. Yeah, we're here really to talk about three premium events that Avoira are hosting across the UK for various different contact center and CX community groups this year. And we'll come to that at the end of our chat. But we're also going to do a little bit of a dig into Avoira so that other GAIA members, you can find out a bit more about the business. And of course, it goes without saying, when we always do these things, if you do want to find out more directly, you can reach straight out to Ian, and his contact details will be below and available again at the end of this interview. But something Ian mentioned there, I want to jump straight onto. So Avoira orchestrated the largest voice AI deployment in the UK, managing a staggering, how many calls is it a day?
Yeah, we're up to around 90,000 calls a day at the minute, which is incredible. I think we processed over 80 million calls so far in that system. So it's absolutely huge.
90,000 calls a day. And look, for a C-level executive at a large enterprise like that, the fear of failure at that scale is massive. So looking back at that deployment, what was the single most important lesson from failure during the early stages that you think ultimately made that project a success?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when you're dealing with corporations and organizations of that size, no man or no supplier is an island. So what we found is that we had to work very closely with lots of other companies to ensure that we were able to achieve what we needed to achieve. But we're also very reliant on what they did as well. So there's a lot of making sure that C-level understand that there is a lot of different parts to the chain. So this involved a lot of side conversations and side meetings with other suppliers that we weren't originally expecting to do. But in the end, those partnerships were forged, things went well, and the deployment has continually been renewed and used by the client in the end. So yeah, just working with those third-party companies is something extra that we weren't expecting as an appointed supplier. So there's been lots of other things around training as well. So delivering extra training to actually members of the staff at the organisation. So dealing with their customer success team and teaching them the best practices to be successful with the data that we're delivering.
Yeah, the people side of things is often forgotten, isn't it? And I think the sort of post-implementation, ongoing training and support and engagement is crucial, really.
Yeah, absolutely. We've found that by having much more regular interactions than we originally thought we were going to do has been really helpful in the long run. It saved us work later by putting more work in early on. So engaging junior, mid-level staff, just helping them understand how to deal with the data, not just sticking rigidly to the standard program, just making sure that you're really trying to reach out inside that organization. So everyone who touches the data gets their own little view of it.
Yeah, a lot more communication, as you said, side conversations with partners, conversations at all levels, higher frequency of communication. I mean, good, clear, regular communication, I know from my recruitment career, is the secret to success. And so I think, that's obviously echoed there in how you've been successful in a deployment, well, the largest voice AI deployment in the UK.
Absolutely. And what I would say as well is that it's not just small companies that get buffered by events that happen in business and in life. Large organizations get buffeted in a similar way. So I think being sympathetic to the people that you're dealing with, understanding that it's, that although they may be rigid in some ways, they are still affected by other events. And in the end, everyone has a boss somewhere.
Yeah, true. And stepping away then from, I know you've obviously got that massive client, but Avoira works with a whole range of scales of businesses as well. And so if we're looking at something that's more commonplace, like the mid-sized deployments, and we know in businesses of that size, perhaps to a greater degree, every penny counts. How does the real life consulting approach that Avoira take differ when you're trying to prove return on investment through analytics for a mid-sized business versus a global giant like we were talking about?
Yeah, great question. Some of the things, some of the same theories apply, but we just have to be a bit more precise and just fit it to the scale of the business we're working with. So the first thing we do now is that we, regardless of the size of business, whether it's 25 agents on the phone up to a mid-size 200 to 500, that business has still got a lot of data on the internet, and we can do a lot of research in advance before we even engage with them. We've all got Microsoft 365, Copilot, or access to Perplexity and all of these other AI tools. We've got so much information about that business that we can go in fully empowered and knowledgeable without having to ask the basic questions. So straight away, you build the trust with a company where time is very precious to them due to the smaller numbers of staff. So go in educated, use LinkedIn to connect with the stakeholders in advance, the people that you want to speak to, do a little introduction so they know you before you're in there and you're making quick progress. And then, of course, you need a top level buy-in. But then one thing we found really useful is to then make sure that each particular role has a little session with us. So yeah, so the whole business is getting analytics insight into the transcriptions and the performance, but the QA team are going to use that information in one way, and that needs one conversation to help them achieve their goals. And then you can then have the conversation with the sales team and the sales director, and he's going to want to see the data in a different way. And by consulting and listening to each one of those sections individually and having private sessions, that then gets the buy-in. They uncover the use case. They start telling you, "Hey, imagine I could do this with it."
Yeah.
So that seems to open it up. And there's something as well that's really exciting that we always do, and that's an OS meeting. So that is the oh shit meeting. So the oh shit meeting is really cool because we even warn our clients, "Hey, this is going to happen. We're going to lift the carpet up, and we're going to see everything that's underneath there, and you're not going to like some of it. Some of it's going to be good, some of it's not. But hey, when we have that oh shit meeting, that's going to be with your, that is the key stakeholders together. Be prepared." And then we've had people get up halfway through the meeting and go, "Thank God you found that. I need to go and fix it right now. Can you come back tomorrow?" So yeah, engage everyone. Be prepared for the OS meeting. And let everyone have a voice.
Yeah, it's really good practical advice. I found that with the approach that you guys have taken throughout the time that we've been, in contact and worked together. It's just practical, down to earth, human level approach. That real life consulting that I think obviously means you're able to deliver so successfully, and communication again at the core of what you're doing, which is just the absolute backbone of success. And then with looking at something specific then. So with the FCA consumer duty now that's placing a huge emphasis on identifying vulnerability, there's a risk that we can turn agents into compliance robots, right, for fear of doing wrong. So how are Avoira specifically using interaction analytics to satisfy the regulatory requirements, which simultaneously use the data to protect the agent's well-being as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been working on FCA consumer duty for many years now, and what we've found is that by designing the system, the vulnerability identification, to be highly accurate for that business's need, the agents can then rely on having that behind them, protecting them, knowing that if they do slip up on a call and miss a vulnerability, that's kind of okay, because they know that the call is going to be catched in the background, passed over to the compliance person, and they can go and action that accordingly. So they know that before this kind of technology is in place, that they carry a high level of risk, and it must be quite stressful for them as to how to handle these vulnerable, challenging calls without any kind of safety net. But now they've got the safety net behind them. In the end, you can ring a customer back. If you've not provided the wrong advice at the time, you can then call them back. But without that safety net behind, that wouldn't exist. And what we found as well, kind of realists, we found that some of the big American vendors, they're supplying technology which is very much one size fits all. Oh, just upload a list of vulnerabilities and it'll be accurate in context. It's not at all. It's very, very nuanced. British language, very nuanced. It does what it says on the tin. I'm not sure how many of the American large language models have programmed statements like that, or I'm not sure how long I can go on. You start to enter these kind of conversations and this kind of language. It's not just a simple keyword. So I think by making sure the language is programmed into the system to be accurate for that organization, and then the agents knowing that they've got that safety net behind them so that they can actually concentrate on the call is really helpful to them.
So you feel that simultaneously you're obviously managing those compliance requirements because you've got a great deal of experience in doing so, but the agent well-being is being supported by virtue of the fact that you're communicating to them. There's safety there. There's a safety net. They're protected because the technology's in place and it supports them.
Absolutely, without a doubt. People are working, and still, of course, they're working in a hybrid way. Some people are 100% from home, and the whole captain's chair thing has disappeared, where they could see down the line and see where an agent was struggling. So, or they've received many challenging calls in a row. I mean, for our work across four different industry customers, 2.6 million calls, we found that it's about 1.2% of every call contains content of a challenging nature for an agent. So agent well-being ? So we've got those tags around the obvious stuff like abuse, racist, sexist abuse and all the rest of it, but also things like cancer and terminal illness. You don't know what these agents are going through. They're at home. The managers haven't got insight into, potentially their day-to-day home life and what's happening there. So the fact that the speech analytics can be used to identify these things, and it happens in one in every 100 calls, it's really good for them to get a message from a manager to put their arm around them and say, I can see you've had a few tough calls today.
Yeah, 100%. Well, look, appreciate that insight into Avoira and what the business is delivering into the UK contact center sector. But as I said at the top of this, we're interested in these three events that Avoira are hosting across the UK over the coming months, each for a slightly different audience. So, Ian, do you want to lead us through in terms of the when they're happening, the where they're happening? Tell us a little bit about each of them, and I'll make sure there's some details up on the screen as well for each of them.
Oh, it's really kind of you, James. Yeah, we're super excited. So the events that we've arranged for this year are better than last year's CX Summit that we did, which was really good as well. So the first event that we just like to mention is on the 28th of April in Manchester at the incredible Allen Hotel. Great name, great venue. We've hosted events there before, and that is primarily aimed at the cross section between AI and human leadership. So it's a really tricky time. I mean, we're on the side of seeing interactions from callers into organizations. The callers are using AI in some way. The staff are using AI in some way to try and protect themselves, to try and make sure that they're not being scored unfairly. So there's then the management are using AI as well in different ways, and that presents a lot of headaches to the leaders of an organization. So this is managing directors, CEOs, definitely head of people, HR directors as well. Everybody is involved in this intersection between human and AI technology. So we're exploring that with a number of leaders. We've got the Matthew Zayed Consulting. You might have seen him on BBC and the Times. We've got some representatives there that are talking about leadership mindset. Got ourselves talking a little bit about some of the projects we've done, linking employee happiness, well-being, and growth mindset as well. So that's one in Manchester, which is kind of the new London now with all the skyscrapers going up, but it's the place to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
But don't worry, we still love London too. So yeah, we're going to be at the AWS HQ at Shoreditch. If you've not visited it, it's pretty incredible. So we've got a talk there, and that's the Contact Center Masterclass. That's led by one of our long-term partners, and that's the team, Sabina, Natalia, and John Wheater, that are going to be talking about how contact center operations can be supported through different tactics, through different techniques. And I'll provide some more information on that one as we go along. Perhaps you can show it on the screen soon.
I will do. Yeah, I'll share that on the screen.
Fantastic. Really excited about that one. That'll be really good for mid-level operations at any organization. Being able to manage people in the age of AI, making sure they're performing well. And then the third event is still we're drafting it out, but we're really excited, and it's going to be C-level only, executive, again at AWS HQ, primarily for the insurance market. So we've worked with a lot of insurance brokers, working with a number of other insurance organizations as well, because insurance hits both sides of the need for technology. They need the sales, revenue. There's a lot of consolidation in that sector, and they also have to adhere to QA and compliance. So we're hosting that event in September, again at AWS HQ. So we're really excited about each of those three events. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to introduce that to everyone today, James, as part of your brilliant network. Thank you.
No, brilliant. So we got April 28th in Manchester. What was the date on the middle event at AWS Summit in London?
Yeah, it's the 14th of May, Thursday, the 14th of May.
April 28th, 14th of May, September for the third one. We're thinking leadership, C-suite on the last one. And the middle one was that one mainly aimed at operational and HR type people as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So contact center operations, the people doing the do that have never got enough time, resources available to be able to do that extra learning. We're putting on this free educational session, and it is educational as well. That's the aim for it. So it's not a supplier, technology sales event. That is absolutely about being a masterclass on how to get better.
Brilliant. And of course, the reason, Ian, you're very kind to give up this time to talk to us at GAIA is you'd like GAIA consultants and members to attend any of these events that appear of interest to them. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah. We'd love the network to come and join us, and it'd be an absolute delight to have you here and bringing along your experience and hopefully learning something. We very carefully create these events and put on some excellent speakers and excellent content. So we'd love to have you along.
That's brilliant. We appreciate that. And I'll make sure the links to register to all these events will be below in the comments section. Obviously, the details have come up on screen as well. But just going back to something I said at the top of the call, if you are just intrigued by Avoira, it's a brand you haven't come across before, you've got a couple of questions, do reach out to Ian directly as well. His email address will be below. So lots of information for you to follow up on. And yeah, if you do pop along to one of these events, make sure you let the Avoira team know. Say, hey, I'm a GAIA member. I saw Ian's interview. It intrigued me. I'm looking forward to the day. And I think anything that's educational, that's what we're all about here, is trying to upskill people, give people an advantage, a way to move their careers forward. And it sounds like you've set up three brilliant agendas. So Ian, once again, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much for yours. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, James. Thanks to all of the GAIA community.
Thanks a lot. Bye.